So we already know that Ashley and Grace in the latest season of Married at First Sight UK have called it quits. But in the latest episode, we have this weird thing where they meet with the experts separately, both say their sides, and coming to the official conclusion that they're not moving forward and that their marriage is over. My thoughts remain the same as they've always remained, that this coupling was doomed from the very start. Grace is a feminist, Ashley is an old-fashioned man. They both have dominant personalities. They kept clashing. It was never going to work. Another thing that I've been saying is that Grace has been getting a lot of flack, a lot of heat, and I think it's unjustified. And I think a lot of people are glossing over Ashley's problematic and red flaggy behavior. And I've always said that Grace has always made her boundaries clear, and Ashley continues to push her boundaries and then play victim when she calls them out for it. And they both have this thing of where they both feel like they are being made to look like the bad guy by someone else. But I feel like Ashley is more so on the you're making me out to be some bad guy. And I've had countless comments insinuating that Grace is either exaggerating or straight up lying, that she's dangerous. But on the contrary, Grace has been consistent, and I believe Grace has been telling the truth, and I believe it's been Ashley that has been lying. He has been caught several times saying that he hasn't done stuff and then admitting that he did. But then the thing that he kept saying is that, well, my intentions were good. My intentions weren't malicious. And as I've said in my other videos, at some point, when somebody is consistently pushing somebody's boundaries, at what point does it get to the point where they're intentionally doing that and their intentions are not good and their intentions are to dominate somebody into submission? In this last separate casting, Grace reveals that early on in their relationship, when she'd be going to the toilet, when she'd be going to the shower, Ashley would be trying to pick the lock, or he would pick the lock and come inside when she's on the toilet, when she's in the shower having private time. And although she says she doesn't think it was anything necessarily creepy, it was alarming to her, and she felt like it did cross her boundaries, like this is her private space. Ashley admits to doing it once. He says it only happened once, but he said that because he didn't get a bad reaction from Grace, he didn't think it was that big of a deal. And again, he says that he didn't do it maliciously. Bearing in mind, this is the beginning of the relationship, and bearing in mind, they've only known each other, a month? So this is the beginning of the relationship, and he's basically justifying it because they're basically already seen each other naked. No. That was fucking creepy. And the fact that he thought that was okay is very indicative of his character. And the fact that he isn't this nice guy and that he doesn't have good intention, because who the fuck does that? To someone they barely even know. And to someone like Grace, like I said, at some point, I just had good intentions, I wasn't doing it maliciously argument doesn't hold up. And even the people who hate Grace, you cannot justify this. You cannot explain this away as this is a jokey joke. This is objectively creepy behavior. This is objectively behavior that crosses boundaries, that invades somebody's privacy. So if he's done this and he's admitted to this, what else has he done to cross Grace's boundaries? Grace has says that he countlessly crosses her boundaries. Is it far-fetched to assume that Grace has been right all along about him crossing the boundaries? And if he has been intentionally crossing her boundaries, is he really a good guy? No. To me, Ashley comes across very chauvinistic. Because he's an old-fashioned man, he just feels like he knows what's best for Grace. He knows what's best for women. And, you know, in his own words, he's done it before and there hasn't been any issues. So he just feels like, why is Grace complaining? At the end of the day, Ashley is a selfish person. He's very entitled and he wants things to go his way. And that's what he's used to. And because Grace put boundaries in place, he didn't like that. So what did he do? He turned himself into the victim because Grace wouldn't submit to him. He turned himself into the victim. I do think there were times where Grace could have spoken up more, but I definitely understand her thinking, let me compromise a little bit, let me not say anything to try and make this relationship work. I can absolutely understand that, especially when Ashley is always posturing himself as some victim. Yes, they were incompatible, but you can still be incompatible with somebody and still respect their boundaries, which Ashley did not do. So I'm not surprised that Grace is always looking stressed out and her nervous system is always disrupted by someone like Ashley. I'm not surprised. But yeah, I'm glad that's over with. But I think this was very eye opening, and I absolutely believe Grace on everything that she said about Ashley. He's not a good guy. He's chauvinistic. He's entitled. And yeah, he's best matched with a pushover and a submissive woman who's going to do everything that he wants and, not say anything when he violates her privacy. But I got to hear from you guys. Has anyone's thoughts shifted when it comes to Ashley and Grace? Has it remained the same? Are you just kind of over this couple? I gotta hear from you guys.